Welcome to Stunner Stage. Today is another one of my favorite episodes where I let a couple of my friends interview each other. These two people are phenomenal drummers that I've known for many years. I've been in a band with one of them for a little over 12 years, and the other one, we've shared stages together and been friends for over 30. But drummers talk drums, and I thought it'd be interesting to hear their perspective on each other's lives. So without further ado, please welcome Mrs. Leigh Underwood and Mr. Lance Reed to Stunner Stage.
We're at Stun's Arcade. We're at Stunner's Stage. And his arcade. We didn't play any games today.
We have not. Not yet. The night is young.
I didn't even know it was there until I looked over there.
Noticed it immediately because that's cool as hell.
So we're here to talk to each other tonight. This is Leigh Underwood, and I'm going to ask her some questions, and she's going to ask me some questions, and we're just going to find out more about each other, the silly questions that we don't get to ask each other all the time. So, Leigh, as far back as you want to just think, what was your first musical memory?
I would say the first time I really felt something was seeing The Song Remains the Same by Led Zeppelin. I do not remember how old I was, but I want to say maybe 5-ish. I was awesome. Very young, and the whole Jimmy Page with the violin bow. I just thought that was the coolest thing I had ever seen in my whole life, and couldn't believe that somebody could do it. That kind of sparked something in me with guitar, and why I have my Jimmy Page tattoo here.
I love that.
It was just a huge step in. I'm really intrigued by this.
Did you start playing guitar really early then?
Not necessarily. I didn't start that till I was 8 or 9. But I guess young, yeah. That's pretty young, but it's not 5.
No.
I do have a picture of myself when I'm 4 with a little snare drum.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's been in my blood for a long time.
I think my brother put a couple of dowels in my hand at one point and asked me to play a ZZ Top song, which I can't remember. I have to ask him what it was, but I was like, I can't do it on the bar stools.
The shuffle. How old are you?
I don't know, I was 9, but I didn't even think about it. I just I like drums. And then I didn't do anything from there.
Could you play the ZZ Top shuffle at 9?
No. I had no idea what was going on there. It was so perplexing.
I still don't.
That is some hard shit.
That really is, and it sounds super simple and is not. What was your first introduction to music?
Well, I remember really liking Sultans of Swing when I was really young. Really, that was my first kind of music happens besides BINGO. But then, yeah, I liked music for a while. And then my uncle kind of introduced me to Led Zeppelin when I was 15. And that was shortly after that, I started get really interested in watching drummers play on stage at the local pep band, in my little tiny town of 400 people.
Did you play in your school band?
I did not. No.
Really?
No. I wanted to play trumpet when I was really little, but there were so many trumpet players, so I was like, oh. So I'm 15, and I'm watching the drummers, and the janitor just told me one night I couldn't watch.
Why?
Because he was a very rule-oriented individual. But so the next week, I actually went and asked the music teacher if I could join the band playing drums because I just wanted to watch. But I didn't tell him that part. But I So the next week the janitor went to kick me off, and I literally was like, I'm in the band. And he was like, you look disgruntled. He was like, ugh. It was a great teenage fantasy movie, but
That's crazy. Did you have to audition?
no, I just had to like buy stuff and say that I would try to learn. And then like I was just playing from there on out. I was like, I suck, but I'm gonna keep on playing. I suck, but I'm gonna keep on playing. And that's like where we all start pretty much like, I suck and I'm gonna keep on playing.
Did you play any other instruments at all?
Not really back then at all. No, I mean like when I was first starting, it was all just drums. That's it. That's really all you need.
Honestly, like I know like a lot of schools, it's like a requirement. You have to have like 2 years before they let you do it, and like in some way I get it, but in other ways I don't. Like, that doesn't mean that you don't.
Aren't you like learning rhythm as drums, which is the basics?
Which is the basics,
and then you can like learn how to play notes on a piano.
Yeah.
With them telling you where the notes are,
right?
Because it's way easier. It's like hit that drum, hit that drum, hit that drum, hit that.
Never understood that.
It's very bizarre.
Well, I think everybody wants to play drums too,
right?
In the band, so I think
that's definitely why they let me play drums right away. I mean, I didn't have any thought to do it, but it was like, no, you couldn't just. You had to do piano before when I was in high school, too.
Right.
So, what was like your first big inspiration?
Drum wise, I mean, I think.
That's how we know each other utterly. So
anybody that knows me, I think will know the answer to this. Mike Portnoy.
Yes.
I've played drums for a long time. I started when I was 8 or 9. But guitar was actually my love growing up. So
up until like how old?
Until I was about 18 or 19 and discovered Dream Theater. So like
when did we meet? When you were like 22, 23? When you first moved here?
Probably around 23, 24.
There you go. I'm texting my brain.
So I like guitar was my absolute passion.
Did you play in bands with guitar too?
I did.
That's awesome.
I did. I did a couple bands where like me and one other member could like both play guitar and drums. So there was like
you just go back
the
and forth?
Instrument switching every once in a while. But then when I saw the live scenes from New York, the Dream Theater, an old bandmate of mine,
you're like,
my brain melted. I just like I want to do that. Like I still love guitar. I think also watching John Petrucci is kind of discouraging because it's
a little humbling.
Yeah.
Like, there's that.
Oh
yeah. Watching Dennis Asher, our mutual bandmate, is also like much the same way. It's like, okay.
Yep.
That's how that's done. Okay.
I don't know, man. That just it lit something inside me, and that's like a big reason Dream Theater is so big to me.
Yeah, Dream Theater was actually really pretty big for me too. I went to school in Los Angeles when I was like 19 for drums, and that's where I had not heard of Dream Theater until then. So that was like one of the cool things that really helped expose me. It was like just a World Mindset, which a World Mindset in that place, just a metal band from New Jersey who plays really weird grooves. But they're all like, yeah, you love Dream Theater, man. And I did. I love, and like, you have held a much deeper, longer love, no doubt.
Oh, yes.
But I mean, it was pretty, like, as a Rush fan for me.
Yeah.
It was like a huge, like, that makes sense to listen to that.
I mean, Rush, like, was, in my childhood, was a big, like, band that I really admired the drums for, but I don't know, guitar still was just speaking to me more at that time.
Yeah.
You don't hold Neil on a pedestal at all times. But.
Right. Well, that was what the first time my sister was like, play that. You're doing okay.
You know what's funny is I actually am really connected to their first album, which was not Neil.
No, John Russ.
Working Man. That solo, I always wanted my dad to play that song. I just
Oh,
thought
really?
that drum solo was so fucking cool.
Your dad played too, yeah, didn't he?
My dad didn't play. He got me into the music that I listened to.
So he would play it on his stereo?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was always obsessed. He like still has. I wonder if he still has it. The record player that he had in college and his like old JVC speakers, like his OG setup. He had a ton of records. I remember being obsessed with all of his Kansas albums because I thought their covers were so badass. So I like would always have him play those too, just because I thought the album covers were cool.
Oh my god! Yes, they are. We are so nerdy.
Yeah.
From the core, we can't help it. From the very core, here we are. It's like, yep, Kansas.
Who was your first like big drumming influence?
Oh, totally, John Bonham.
Yeah.
I mean, that was massive. Besides my watching Troy Nielsen and Travis Hunted struggle through Eye of the Tiger with me, but better than me. But on the Sioux Valley Round Lake Brewster stage of the pep band. What's another silly question I can ask you? Oh, what was your first kit?
My first kit was who makes it? Is it CD? An MX 1000
CB700
that I bought off of a buddy of mine in 8th grade for $50. It was a turd.
Yeah.
I just kind of played at home and stuff. Like I did play in bands, but a lot of the time I would use my friend's drum set. And then when I was in my early 20s, I got back, like when I was really getting back into drumming. I joined this band when I lived in Dallas, and they were like, "We're going on tour in a couple months," and I was like telling them about my drum set. I'm like, "It kind of sucks," and they're like, "Do you think it'll make it through the tour?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it'll be totally fine." And I went home and really looked at it, and I'm like, "Oh, there's no fucking way." This thing's gonna disintegrate on night 2. So I ended up, I was working at Guitar Center at the time, so I splurged on a Gretsch Catalina maple. So that was my first like.
That's the first real
upgrade kit. Yeah.
Like I'm playing the drums.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, that kit, man, it was real sad.
I think one of my first early kits had at least the half of double bass was a CB700 kit, and the other half was something shittier.
Some of the like older CB700s were not
too bad compared to nowadays.
Yeah. The 80s stuff and the like real early 90s.
What are you playing right now?
I still got my Star Classics.
Yeah, Star Classics.
I will never, ever, ever, ever sell my gig kit. Last year they did the 100% Burt shells, which is my favorite. I also have a Birch Babinga that I leave set up at my practice space. That's kind of my prog kit.
Is that does the Babinga give a little higher end to it?
Lower end.
Yeah. Babinga?
Lower end, a little more resonant, a little darker.
So what's Birch? Is that the higher end?
Birch is higher, kind of more mids.
Interesting. Holy shit.
More mids, not quite as much resonant. They're still resonant, but they're a little more punchy.
You know all this stuff because you worked in the biz, the real drums, man. You're like, oh, Lance, this is my job, by the way.
I saw you the last time I was down at the space, busted the Ludwigs back out.
I did bust some Ludwigs back out. I'm putting together basically a bottom kit without an 18-inch drum right now, a green sparkle.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I've got it right now, I've got a 26-inch green sparkle, and I had a 14-inch snare, marching snare that I was using, but I just converted that to a tom. And then I just bought a Superphonic.
Oh, so fuck yeah.
I'm now I'm just going to put some listeners on my 16-inch tom. It's going to be like my little dream kit from 16 years old. I'm going to be playing Immigrant Song all day long.
I want an acrylic someday so bad.
That'd be pretty badass.
They're fun. They're kind of a one-trick pony, but they're a fun one-trick pony.
Yeah, a fun one-trick pony.
What's your do you have an ultimate dream kit, or is the one you're building your dream kit?
You are a stalwart in your kit love, where I'm a stalwart in I love this kit now. I love this kit now. I love this kit now. I want to maybe switch this kit up and make it into a different kit, and I love that kit now. So yeah, I mean it's kind of always evolves, but yeah, this has been one that I've wanted to build for a long time, put together, buy, but I'm too cheap to just buy them outright. So I always find deals where I'm like, okay, bass drum for cheap. I can snare drum for cheap. So that's what I'm doing with this one. Oh, yeah. So I'm looking forward to finishing that.
There's got to be some pride in that, though. That's not something that you just bought. And
I've gotten better at putting things together. I mean, I'm very much a spaz once in a while. So, when I finally get a chance to put things together after I've been waiting to do it, I'm like,
mad scientist.
Total mad
the
scientist.
Hair sticking straight up.
And sometimes it works, but it's gotten better now. I've noticed that in myself. I'm like, okay, I've got a little more measure it twice, cut it once.
I don't have the patience. I guess if I was
right now I have 5 kits that I've got to put together just so I can get them out of my place. All shells is you're okay, what shells and what hardware do I have? I've got to get rid of this shit because this is just stuff laying around, and now I haven't done anything with it, so I guess I'm done with it.
Right. I had a bass drum shell that remember where I found it, or somebody just gave it to me at work one time, and I wanted to turn it into a coffee table, and I held on to it for 6 years, and I did stain it, but then I didn't literally do anything else, and I finally got rid of it when we were moving. So enough's enough.
Maybe that's what I'll do with something I got.
I thought it'd be cool. Every once in a while, you see those things on the internet of people making shit on drums. I'm
I could do that. I've got enough drum shells.
What about snares? You have a favorite?
Well, I got a really weird one that I'm playing right now. It's just so Robert Keller. This is really kind of nerdy deep, weird. But DW drums, right. Keller. It was Keller shells that made those first. I ran across this random in Immigrant Grove Heights, which is right where I live in South St. Paul, right near there. This pawn shop, and I was like, these drums are really weirdly cool, but they were loaded with shitty hardware. Right. The lugs were just crap hardware, but it was these seem like they're really cool, and I don't know what to think about these. And it's finally, and they were $300 for a 22-inch kick, a 10 by 10 rack, and a 14 by 14 floor tom, and a 4. Sorry, this is a long question, long answer to the snares, and a piccolo, a 4 by 14 snare, which I would have loved back in the day, back in fucking 1991. I would have been bam, here's the piccolo, crack. but not now. I don't. That is not my sound now. But that they were all signed by Robert Keller, so they're early on DW shells,
cool.
pre-DW. When DW was getting shells from him,
right,
for their really old kits, so they're all hand signed in there.
That's cool.
And it was just a total freak, and it was $300, and they do this badass.
That's cool.
They're not my favorite configuration, a 10 by 10. I mean, and a 10 and a 14 by 14. They're but I was riding the 14 by 14 for a while.
I like
for my
the
rack
14.
Down. Oh, it was just a boomer. It's like having a floor tom up top. But that snare, oddly, is just it cracks right now. And I put that on there just recently again. I was riding that 14 by 10 marching drum that I had for a while, which was kind of a resemblance of one of my most fun snares ever, which was just an old 10 by 14 Ludwig snare, badass. And I'm so sad. I wish
sell it.
I was like, why did I get rid of that? That was
Oh.
like so badass. Like I even listened to it on old rehearsals, and I'm like, oh, that was a drum. That's like a heartbreaker to lose. But this one sounded similar. But then I am getting this Superphonic, which is kind of a dream drum also.
Which side? Depth?
It's just a 5x14.
Right on.
Kind of a trasher because it's got pitted and stuff, but
That's how they
I don't
come.
really mind.
I don't mind it either. Gives it character.
You're right. So that's my really, really, really long snare drum answer. It's like your first really fun, holy shit, this is so much fun to do because that just happened.
I think, I'm thinking of my first show. My first show was at the Garage, Burnsville.
That's awesome.
When I was, I think, 15. Played with my little high school band. I mean, I remember that it's kind of a cool place. You know, obviously
that was awesome for kids. My God.
Way back in the day. Like,
oh yeah.
I don't really know what it's like there now. The band that I was in Dallas, we were called Opiums. We played a lot of cool places. There was a place in Galveston. I just remember the lights there. Super cool. Like the first time I had really been in like a light show experience. Like not just there were some stage lights and they were doing stuff, but the first time that they were really like
Big juicing it up.
Fog machines and they made more of a production out of everything.
That's cool.
Scout Bar is what it was called.
Welcome, Scout Bar.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember that being the first like somewhat bigger venue. I also got to, with the same band, play South by Southwest, and we opened for Perry Farrell.
That's so awesome.
That was one of the coolest venues I've ever played, if not the coolest. And I don't remember the name of that place
Jane's Addiction
either.
or after Jane's Addiction?
It was right as they were reuniting. So for a minute, when I saw we were playing, I was like, "Is this with Jane's Addiction? Like, that'd be fucking cool." But it was his solo project thing, and and he kind of sucked as a person.
Well, Perry hasn't grown much either, so
we
talk Perry. Sorry.
Yeah, we had to after we were done pack up our shit, and they're like, "You have 10 minutes to get all your stuff from backstage," and we were like no longer allowed in an artist area anymore.
So one of those real feel-good experiences from your growing up.
The venue itself, though, it doesn't exist anymore. Like I do not remember the name of that either. But there were these big ribbons that went across the whole place, and they were just woven together, and it's really.
And the way the lights went against them.
Yes. What about you?
My first live experience was playing at. I was 15 years old playing at the Hilltop Inn in Okoboji.
Oh, really?
There's an open mic.
Oh, man.
And I knew how to play Moni Moni. So that was my first live experience. And I was like, this is badass. Solely badass.
Did you just play Moni Moni by yourself? Or
no, the band.
Oh,
the band.
okay,
Yeah, there was. I think it was the Lodestones, who Rich Rue. I can't remember the name. Rich somebody, but he's somebody I saw up here one night too, and I was like, who's a musician in the cities, and I was like, hey, I played it when I was 15.
Did you guys get together and jam Moni Moni?
No, it was total like. We should have. That would have been nice because it was in the alley at our rehearsal space in downtown. Oh.
Does he practice there too?
No, but it was a time I think where there was actually people going there for fun, except for a Saints game.
Oh yeah.
And
still a great room
though. It is a great room.
Jamming in there.
You're hearing that? It's a great room to play in. It's fun. I think you are very overall respected in the drumming community. Have you ever like ran into any assholes who think because you're female, is there anything other than a guy drummer who have done anything that's just unacceptable?
I posted about this a long time ago, and I don't know if I want to drop the name.
That's okay if you don't want to, but you can tell a story. That's okay. I like hearing stories.
There was a large drumming figure in the Minneapolis area that called one of the shops that I worked at one time and asked for a drum tech. Just said, "Hey, is like anybody a drum tech there?" And I said, "Yeah, me." And he laughed. And then he
Nice.
asked again, "Is there anybody that's a tech there?" I said, "Yes, me. What do you need?" And again, kind of chuckled, and I was like, "What's the deal, dude? Like, what's so funny?" And he's like, "I just, I don't mean any disrespect. I don't hire women for this job." And
Interesting. Sorry, fella. You missed out on a really good tech because she could probably smoke you playing drums anyway. But she would tech for you and be okay.
I know a lot of people respect this guy and don't. And every time I see his name
I'm afraid to ask him.
Spreading a little positivity, I get a little pissed off because I'm like, not really practicing what you're preaching there, buddy.
I'm smelling.
So that was I don't feel like that happens to me as often as it does to other people. I don't know if it's the way I feel.
You're just a fucking pro.
Or I don't know.
And you're good. So it's like that's how I've always kind of just looked at you as somebody who I'm just like, oh,
that shit's out there though. Like I know
is.
so many people that I talk to that just have horror stories about that shit.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. It's infuriating. It's just belittling, and why?
Yeah.
The biggest is why? Why does it matter? You're good at what you're good at.
You're good at what you're good at.
Have you ever had any negative? I mean, obviously, you would probably not experience something like that. But
as the old white guy experienced any. I mean, of course, I have, but not in that sense.
Well, not in that sense, but like,
I mean,
what's a negative experience?
Oh, when Gary wouldn't let me fucking watch the drummers. That was like as bad as it got, and then I just like joined the band and I was like, oh. I mean, you always have people who are assholes.
Right.
Not everybody likes what you're doing. That's fine because I mean, you and I both know that we are never going to be the best drummers in the world, and because nobody's the best drummer in the world.
No. No, and I think the thing I've always loved about music and what I always tell people that we will never know either.
Sorry. If that's what your goal is, man, you're toast.
It's fucking endless. I think
endless.
That's the coolest thing about it. There are people that take all the instruments to a different level.
I know. I am not that person.
Me neither. But I get complimented on my pocket. I'm gonna run with that.
I like pocket compliments. Those are nice. I'll take that all day long.
I'll take it all day long. I used to want to be the flashy one. I still want to be.
Well, you can
I don't
still
know.
do it.
I respect the pocket more and more and
Oh,
more.
love playing with the groove.
You gotta have a groove, man. Like, I love crazy prog stuff, but like I can't stand songs that are just blast beats all the way through. It's gotta have.
You did like it though.
I mean,
at one point, right? In smidges.
In smidgen, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I still very much enjoy it in smidgen, but it has to be done tastefully.
I'm like so old school that, and so didn't even see anything back then because I was such a small town background. I was like, even Slayer to me for a while when I was growing up listening to Metallica and listening to Injustice for All, which was totally one of my albums that just like made me go off. But even like Slayer sounded so primitive for a while, but then after a while it was like, holy the real deal.
Yeah.
Dave Lombardo blows my mind.
Yeah. Do you have anybody that like introduced you to drums?
I do. Yeah. I mean, it's such a weird question because it's like not a weird question at all from you, but it's like you don't really think about it. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, who's the one that smacked you in the head
Right.
with drums all of a sudden? My friend Kevin was pretty young, and I couldn't play anything that he was playing, but all of a sudden I was like, oh, if you hit the bass drum like that, it sounds like that. Which I couldn't make it. I would be like, nah, doesn't sound like when Kevin hits it. But yeah, he very early, uh, in a lot of different ways, I guess, actually, and like drumming, thinking about drumming, and even thinking about music really early on was a pretty solid influence on me as far as like just wanting to focus on writing music for the most part.
Right.
I guess early on, yeah. So I think, yeah, my friend Kevin Elsing, he lives in Sioux Falls yet, does like really great work with the environment and things like that now, and is a stellar drummer underneath all that somewhere.
Does he still play?
I think occasionally, but not
Right.
like for real or anything. Just dabbles around here and there more with music, but yeah, he was like a huge influence on me. He played in like a cover band, Crash Alley, way back in the day, in like the weird bar circuit days in 1989. But yeah, he was a really cool drummer and a great mind, and he like early on, just like said, I played in cover bands, kind of sucks. Play your own stuff.
Right.
And I was like, it kind of always just stuck in my head the whole time. That's kind of what I always end up doing. I mean, I played other little thingamajiggers here and there, but mostly just keep on playing with people who I played with the whole time. What you?
My mom actually was the first one that my mom
Really?
played through college.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't think she did much like drum set work, but she was
Touch sticks and play.
She was in college.
Awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if she was in drum line. So when I was
That's a little 4-year-old story.
Third grade going into fourth grade, she actually like started teaching rudiments, stuff like that, and how to hold the
So
sticks.
jealous. More of my mom doing all this.
So I kind of had a leg up on a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a huge leg up. My God.
When I started in elementary school, I felt like I was quite a bit ahead of everybody else.
You don't know what a paradiddle is.
Yeah.
Little Lee said. Why don't you know what a paradiddle is?
Yeah, with guitar, I was little neighborhood helper. And there was this woman that lived behind me when I lived in Pennsylvania when I was a kid. And I saw her out like doing weeds one day or something. And as we were chatting, I figured out that she was like a local musician that was on the and like she would have commercials like her band would play. And at the time, you know, when you hear somebody on the radio, you think they're just like a star. You know what I mean? Now being a local musician, I totally get where she was, but yeah.
She just got a spot on the radio.
At the time I was like, oh my God, you're on the radio. And I had told her like I really want to like learn guitar sometime, and she's like, oh yeah, I'll teach you.
It's like your next door neighbor?
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
And my mom had this old guitar that she had gotten from her dad that was kind of beautiful. But I brought it up. Marty was that woman. I brought it up to Marty, and she like put new strings on it.
Kind of set up well enough for a kiddo, huh?
Doing enough, and she taught me D and G chords.
Oh yeah.
And taught me a little like country sounding ditty to like practice switching between the chords. And I just like didn't put it down. the next couple of weeks.
That's
and
awesome.
The next time I saw her, I like had piano knowledge because I also played piano. So I figured out how like bar chords worked by myself. And the next time I saw her, I was playing whole Nirvana songs and like
How old were you? Like 9?
9. Yeah.
She's like, well, hon,
She's like,
that's the devil's music.
That's not what I thought. No, Marty was a badass.
Okay, good.
She was like
Thank God.
who I wanted to be when I was older. She fucking spit, she drank, she like she was just a badass woman.
Thank you, Marty.
I haven't talked to her in a long time, but I did find her on Facebook. I want to say like 8-9 years ago, so I reconnected with her.
Nice.
And I let her know like how
Hey,
much
Marty,
my
you're
like
a badass.
yeah, I wanted to play music. I mean, that was kind of a big reason I wanted to play music. Again, I want to be like my,
Yeah, but she liked hearing that.
Mm-hmm. Lady.
So, what you all doing right now?
Ooh.
You have a really full docket, so we'll let you go first because I'm just like meat and potatoes guy over here, man. It's like
I'm doing a lot right now, but it's kind of interesting. I'm in a million bands, but I'm also now I'm starting to get out because I'm in a working band, but I'm able to spread things out pretty well, which is nice. So I am in the Fool Fighters with Mr. Stunner here, who we've been around for 12 years. We're a Foo Fighters tribute band, obviously. We're kind of only playing a handful of times a year, but fun. It's just the best. I'm like the most exhausted after Foo Fighters shows.
you guys actually got me into listening to the Foo Fighters.
Really?
Yes.
Oh hell yeah!
I was like, oh, I like some of their songs. I'm like the worst to jump on any bandwagon ever in the whole world. So
It's fun music to play. It gets me fired up.
it is. It's cool music.
It is good music. I joined a Bad Company tribute recently called Mad Company.
Little song and book action.
Yeah. Another band that is just like a few times a year sort of deal. Man, I always forget like how you're talking about groove, man, like Burning Sky. Oh, groove for that.
I gotta listen to more of that because I mean,
So
like
good.
even their basic songs feel like making love.
Yeah.
You know, it's so stupid. But still, when you get to go like, it just smack that day. It's fucking fun.
I'm in a band called Waves Collide that I just joined like a month ago. That's kind of like 90s alternative covers. There's a wide range of stuff in there. There's some like Hootie and the Blowfish and Matchbox 20, but then they like get into some Chevelle and stuff like
cool.
that. So like
Tool Light.
kind of a little bit, a little spread out. And then they've got some originals as well.
That's cool.
I play with my wife. Her name is Natalie Fiddler for anyone that wants to look it up. I always hesitate on what to call her music. I never want to say singer-songwriter because I think everybody pictures chicken acoustic guitar, which there's nothing wrong with that. But like, that's not what her shit is. It's a little all over the place. She's just a phenomenal songwriter, a phenomenal musician. There's a little pop punk in there. There's a little bluesy stuff. There's a little like classical. There's a little of everything.
With just really good voice.
Yes.
Like that's huge.
Yes. I play in a metal band called Hearts of Carolyn. That I hear a lot of people compare that band to like Hailstorm.
Okay.
That's been super fun. We're gonna be starting to write. So the singer and guitar player are married. They just moved here from Colorado like a year ago.
So this is really fresh.
It's pretty fresh, but they had the band for a couple of years before that. So like me and the bassist hopped on.
Okay.
So we learned like 2 albums worth of material. We got to do Rock Fest.
That's cool.
Yeah, we've been doing a bunch of just picking up shows here and there. The next goal with that is going to be writing together, which I'm super looking forward to.
Right for your alley.
Yes. I'm in another band called Uxia, which we all kind of pronounce a little different. It's spelled Uxia. There's like Uxia.
Uxia.
Yeah.
Uxia. Uxia.
This is a dream project for me. This is the thing I feel my soul in the most. It's original, progressive metal, very along the lines of Opeth.
Nice.
I've always wanted to play music like this. I've always wanted to be in a band like this. And I'm so fucking excited to record. We're recording in November.
Are you really?
Yeah.
How many songs do you have right now?
We've got 6.
Nice.
Then we've got some other ones that are kind of there, but we haven't like started working on them yet. Everybody's kind of been sending stuff, and
so you're working remotely and then you get together, like in a way.
No, in a way, we have
like you send mixes back and forth.
Yes and no. We have a weekly rehearsal.
Oh, nice.
But if somebody's got something that they've like been working on
You're
and
like,
they want to share, yeah, like let's do it.
Really beautiful to be able to do that. Easy.
I feel really excited about this. Like all the first time I listened to the riffs that we did. Honestly, this has been a several years endeavor because of lineup changes and it has just gone wrong. The pandemic.
Did that get in the way of something?
It got in the way of one thing or two.
Like life. Thank God. Oh.
So we used to be called Portentum, which was just a 3-piece. It was bass guitar or bass, keys, and drums. And then bassist left. We brought on a guitar player, got a new bassist. Our keyboardist had to leave because she's a school teacher and got
shit. A lot of changes.
A lot of changes, but now the lineup that we have, it's gone.
But you managed to persevere these songs through that whole thing?
Some of them got let go. There was a bad friendship breakup and some things were erased. And we decided to drop the name and just kind of start fresh. We took 2 of the songs that were done, but we had never recorded or anything like that. But we kind of put our own little spin on them.
Nice.
About that.
That's your primary guy.
That's my love.
Yeah.
That's my love.
I like that. That's good you got that. Get that very often.
You have to have. I've always felt that you have to have. Like, I know I do a lot of the cover work and it's fun and you make money. But like, yeah, I have to have a passion project at the same time.
Yeah.
And I go fucking nuts. I have to create. I can't just keep playing Hold My Hand over and over and over.
Oh, go play, make league, do something.
What about you? What are you up to?
Well, I am playing in the One Trick Pony band. No, playing in Casanatra. That's all I'm doing right now. That's all I got.
But you guys are badass, so that's pretty cool.
That is fun. We played together so long. Played together since 2002, I think, with me and Dennis and Jer. And who Leigh plays in Bull Fighters with Dennis. And with Jake, since he's been like with us, we played in a band called Goodnight Ritual until this last year where we just decided that we were like kind of playing music that sounded like Casanatra. We're like, why don't we just call ourselves Casanatra again? Because it sounds like that music, so that's where we were with that. But you played with Jake, who's played in Goodnight Ritual with us since 2009, 11, I think, 10 or 11, and you played with him in the morning.
Yeah. In
Bilderberg. So like these webs.
It is webs. Funny. I mean, the world gets smaller and smaller every day, it seems. Do you want to do anything? Do you like write at all?
I do a little bit of writing. I've played more guitar, like just here and there through the years, but it never ends up like sticking.
Right.
I like play for a while. I'm like, I got a little bit better, and I was like,
I feel that way with guitar now. Like if I pick it up and I'm constantly playing, stuff comes back to me. But I used to be a way more proficient guitar player than I was drummer.
no drums.
Now it's very much
utterly
the other way
amazing. Yeah.
around. So I am almost embarrassed. I actually played in a Tool like tribute band when I was in high school. I
Did
played
you really?
guitar.
That's badass.
So I know I'm more familiar with
You're
the
like, hi, I'm Adam.
guitar parts than I am the drum part. Well, Danny Carey also.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, Leigh, this has been fun. I would love to do this like for real, not in front of cameras.
Yeah.
But I'll take the conversation either way. That was fun to learn more about what you have going on, what you did, and who you are, because you're a badass drummer.
You're a badass drummer, and you have always been my favorite. A sample question here is first local heroes,
You.
and that was you. I remember the first time I saw you drum, I was like, fucking wow.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Again, the groove. It was your groove. You always know when to come back, and I respect the shit out of you.
It's on the hips. I appreciate that a lot.